I'd like to call the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Commission meeting to order on Friday, June 9th at 8:09 a.m. Unfortunately, we don't have a quorum, so we can't really conduct much business. However, we can give an update on the recent algae bloom that was experienced on the lake. So, Mike, you're the one.
Yeah, so we went up, we did a emergency sampling, I guess you'd say. We first had a Zoom meeting with GZA, with Ben Burpee, and kind of told us what we needed to do, take some more pictures. So Michael Nathan took us out on the boat. I grabbed 2 samples, took some pictures. They were pretty, and I texted them right to Ben when we were out on the lake. And he was quite positive it was just green filamentous type algae bloom. And as we know, behind the island is very shallow. It's only like 3 feet deep. And through all the emails we've seen from Bob Cortman and Ben and all that, pretty much the shallow water heated up very quick. The oxygen gets entrained in the algae and it just lifts it right up. And he said when you go out and it's like a real cottony type, real light, fluffy green mass. It's a filamentous, yeah, it's almost like a slime, I guess you'd say. So that the samples did confirm that. I think Saturday afternoon we got emails from Ben saying that it was just green filamentous, a multitude of different algae that were in there. But so that was basically the extent of it, and they said it usually dissipates by itself 3 to 4, 5 days ish, something like that. So
that's about right.
And I think it did. Is it all gone now? I haven't been back there, but
I haven't. But it's when I was there, I took that picture Monday, and when I was there Saturday morning, we put the danger, do not, touch signs on buoys around there. It was 90% gone.
yeah,
Okay. And non-toxic.
non-toxic. Yep. So they lifted the
No blue-green algae, as I recall the email that came out.
right.
Yeah, this
You find any
was
blue
noticeably
algae?
different. This was a noticeably different color and texture than the cyanum.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Which was red.
No, it was green.
I don't know. When I went down the morning that it got reported at the boat club, and it was like rust color.
Well, what might have caused that was the young lily pads are out, and they do have quite a rusty color to them right now.
You're right. See the rust on it? See the top?
But it's when we were out taking the samples, there was no rust color in the actual algae at all. It was
Right.
just green. So I don't know if those young lily pads kind of gave that look to it or not. I don't know.
No, because this was up on the north end of the bowl, or the northwest end of the
Oh,
boat club. And
that's-
I took my grandchildren down to take them swimming. And I took one look at the lake and I said, we're not going swimming today, which was a good
Yeah,
thing.
That's the difference in color.
That's what we saw.
Okay, well, that's the cyanum.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying.
Let's hope we don't have that again.
It was a rusty color.
Yeah, well, that
This was on the
well, what
north
we
end of the
saw-
lake?
When the one that closed the Josh, yeah.
Oh, no, I mean,
Oh, I
when
know
you
what-
took the kids
You were
out.
seeing a lot of pollen. You always saw that at the at the
Always
boat.
saw that, but that wasn't the same thing. What I saw was rust color, and it was chunky.
Yeah.
So where exactly was that?
The boat club.
At the boat club?
Yeah, just south.
Okay.
This was, before the Josh was closed. This is not recent.
Oh, that's.
Oh, okay.
That's-
Oh, I don't know what you're talking
No,
about
no.
I
now.
think we were all thinking.
Because I'm
we
like,
saw something.
wait,
No,
we
no.
weren't aware there was any other
There
spot.
was an algae bloom back before the Josh, that one about, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago before it, because Mark was running the harvester back then, and there was definitely one that nothing really transpired from it. Everybody was just,
Well, at least we know the system works. That's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Right. Pat?
I think though we can improve the system. I think the communication on the way out was spotty, and we know who the constituencies are that need to know this kind of thing. And then on the way back, as far as I know, other than reading it in Stockbridge updates, there was no formal chain of communication that said the advisory's been lifted. So I think we can use this as an opportunity to figure out the list of people stakeholders that need to be addressed, not only for an algae bloom, but if anything else happens on the lake. You know, when the harvester flipped, the Stockbridge town beach was closed, but you know, Beechwood didn't know. And so it's not just algae, it's anything that happens on the lake. I think we need a protocol for who needs to get notified and how.
Did they do a reverse 911?
Yes.
After, I know.
Twice.
Yeah, I thought, because I got one stating there was an algae issue, but then I can't remember if they did one after they
I think
lifted.
they did.
I thought I got 2 notices.
And I never got a notice.
And I did a reverse 911 with Code Red the other day for Flushing, and half the people that are calling never got the phone message, the email, and 2,000 phone messages went out.
Oh, I got yours. Yeah.
The people that are calling, which are residents like full-time, are not. They said, oh, we didn't get any phone call. So I don't know if they don't have the proper phone numbers in or how.
Yeah, they changed their phone numbers or
Yeah.
they think they're in and they're not in.
Right.
I know Vinnie and I had talked about that. I would like to get the list of everybody who's actually in there. And then through at least the Council on Aging, I can start
Yeah.
promoting, like you need to make sure that your information is up to date if you want to
Get
get.
2 notices from the Council on Aging, you could save yourself, 35 cents or whatever it is in postage now.
Oh, did you get 2?
Yeah, Gary gets one, I get one.
Oh, okay. I haven't caught them all because it came originally, what I have.
yeah.
It came originally from the voter registration by age that Terry pulls. And so I had started going through it and doing that. And like then where I recognize it, like, Arthur and Chris Dutil, it's like, okay, I put them together, I delete one and I just put both names.
Right.
But I didn't catch you, so I haven't gotten through it all.
Yeah, the other thing, going back to the algae bloom, the thing that I also worry about was the first message that went out said it was toxic, as if this was a fait accompli. And I worry about that for a number of reasons. One, I think people need to be educated in general that not every time you see algae is it going to be toxic. In fact, most of the time it's not. But the other thing is I worry that if we ever do get, and hope we won't, but life is what it is, we do get a toxic bloom, I don't want people to ignore us and say, you're the boy that cried wolf, you always call everything toxic. I think we need to be very careful. An abundance of caution, absolutely. And let people know, and that we have to test it right away and that we will get them definitive information as soon as possible. But I think it's dangerous to call everything toxic before we know it.
I think that was Tri-Town. I'm not sure.
I don't think Tri-Town would have called it toxic till they tested it. They put out an advisory, and I think they said potential, and they listed things that you should do, which was totally appropriate.
And not do, yeah.
Yeah,
like
but yeah.
do
what not to
harvesting, et
not do.
cetera.
And I think that is totally appropriate until we know. But to call something toxic before we know it, I think is a mistake.
Yeah, the other thing is just identifying really who does need appropriately to be contacted. For instance, I was not aware that the Board of Health had actually requested the testing. In the meantime, I'm talking to Mike Canales and we're communicating with GZA, and Mike and I are sending information to GZA with the question of like, can you identify it? Is it benign? Should we be testing this? Not knowing that Board of Health has already ordered a test. So I was concerned that we've got, a duplicate effort. So anyway, that all turned out to be just fine. And, but also we have to think about, we had the water chestnut remediation going on. And they should have been contacted if there was that kind of an advisory.
What we need is one person who all the information should go through, and that should probably be someone from the Board of Health.
Right, there should be a list of,
And they would have
do
a
you
protocol
disseminate
to.
it? A protocol of who needs to be
Yeah,
contacted,
it's under their jurisdiction for sure.
right?
The other issue, aside from Lori Rock and her group, was, and I don't think it came yet, but the harvester could have been in the water, and that could have been an issue. So it's not only constituents, it's what else is happening on the
The
lake.
harvester was ordered to stop, like, within an hour of.
Right, but I'm just saying, that needs to be on the checklist, if you will, of this happens, this,
Yeah.
and this only. I mean, I think this is a great opportunity that it wasn't toxic, we saw what worked, we saw what didn't work, we fix it. Make it better.
We should, and I've talked about this before. When we start seeing the thermocline come up where the cyanobacteria really is, and we're gonna get some kind of we might have a bloom on the main lake. We need to figure out, okay, what is gonna be our protocol for, we don't wanna send out a code red reverse 911 and freak everybody out, or how do we wanna handle it? It's probably a good thing to probably, like Pat said, get all this laid out and have a chain of command and get it.
Because even in this one, I was confused, because it was down, obviously, on the, behind the island. What did that mean for, just for argument's sake, if the camp was in session? Is that safe? Is that not safe? I mean, how far away? I don't know.
I think what's gonna happen now is, like I mentioned earlier, that we're probably gonna buy an algae probe.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be able to go out there and see what kind of algae are out there if we do see something like this again.
Yeah.
Or on the main body of the lake, and we can tell right away without even testing.
That's great.
So I think that's probably gonna happen. Of course, we're gonna need training on it. I think it was like $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah.
So that's
I'll
gonna
raise
be,
my hand and say the SBA will pay for that if you would like.
I think that'll be something that'll be happening. And when the guys come out in next month or the month after, when they come and do their second GZA, maybe they can bring theirs with them and just kind of show us how to use it. And then I think we're gonna purchase one, so.
Come on, when you do that.
Well, that would be handy, and then that
Then it takes the whole
eliminates.
emergency shipping samples overnight with, all over the place, and
Although you still are gonna have, I mean, it could be cyanobacteria, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's toxic. So you're still gonna have to test.
oh, we're still gonna have to test, but it's gonna,
People know.
at least we're getting the information to the limnologists who can really
Yeah,
say, okay,
yeah,
Well,
that's great.
this is a good example of where that would come in handy, because when it can identify what it is and it knows it's not blue-green algae, that it's benign, common green algae, then you can still test it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you already know that you don't have a cyanobacteria bloom. So the sooner that you can identify it, the better.
Yeah, I
This is
think
why we were
that's-
sending the videos and the pictures to GZA, because they're the experts,
I'm gonna put up something at the boat ramp and ask people, because the kayakers are always down around there. And if they ever see an algae bloom or what looks like an algae bloom, please let us know immediately. And I'll have them either call me or Mike, so we can go out and, take pictures of it or take the machine out.
Well, yeah, once you have the probe, then they can just contact Mike and we can go from there. How do we
this
get
is
out
gonna be
there?
a
How
work in
fast can we get
progress
out
for a
there?
while.
What's reasonable?
with Chuck and Michael Nathan right there, I think we got out in no time flat
Yeah.
the other day.
Yeah. Okay. All righty, so anyone else have an update? You got any updates from Conservation Commission? No? Okay. Michael, anything else with,
I have, when we went out last month for our sampling, our sonde, our handheld unit, was acting up. I had everything all calibrated, ready to go, and it just died on me. And I think it's the battery. It's the original battery in it. So fingers crossed, I ordered another one. It hasn't come in. I ordered it 2 weeks ago. So I'm hoping that that's the problem with it. It did it last year a couple times, and I just had to pull the battery out and put it back in, and then it powered back up and it was fine. I cannot, it won't even boot up now, so I'm thinking it's the battery, but we have a service contract with Hydromet with that unit anyway, so I can ship it out and have them go through it, but other than that, everything seems to be working fine. So when we went out the other day, GZA took all that information and we did the sampling in the brooks and all that other stuff, so.
all righty, thank you. Pat, do you have anything else?
No, I was just wondering if we had any updates about when the harvester is going in.
It's in.
It is it, okay. I haven't heard it chugging yet, but it's great.
Okay, well, do we have any questions from the audience out there?
There is none.
Great. Well, she signed in, but, all right, so with no other business to really conduct, I move that we adjourn.
Okay.
Okay.